Stu Ungar was one of the most gifted players the poker world had ever seen. Fearless at the table, relentlessly aggressive, and a nightmare for anyone trying to hide a tell. But the one opponent he never managed to overcome was himself.
Now, you're older, you're wiser, you're 43 years old. You think you're going to do things differently now?
Well, I hope so, Gabe. I've neglected my kids. I've done a lot of stupid things myself. But I want to tell you something for a fact. There's nobody that ever beat me playing cards. The only one that ever beat me was myself, with my bad habits.
This is how a man who had spent years battling addiction, losing fortunes, and drifting through Las Vegas with no direction, walked into the World Series of Poker main event with nothing, and clawed his way back to a place no one believed he would ever reach again. Stu entered as the very last registered player in the entire field. He didn't have the buy-in until minutes before the deadline. His health was shaky, his body worn down, and the version of himself that once dominated poker had been gone for years. And yet, within days, he was controlling tables the way he did in his prime, reading situations faster than anyone else, applying pressure without hesitation, and playing with a clarity that didn't match the life he had been living. He went from nearly missing the tournament entirely, to leading it, from being a forgotten name in poker, to becoming its top earner. But to understand how a man in that condition could still produce a performance like this, to understand how someone so close to losing everything could still find a way to rise, we need to go back to New York, back to the rooms where he learned the game, back to the talent that made him a prodigy long before he was a champion. Stu Ungar didn't grow up in a stable home or a typical neighborhood. He grew up in the Lower East Side of New York City during a time when the local card rooms were louder and more active than the streets outside them. His father ran a small gambling operation, and the regulars who played there treated every session like work, not entertainment. Most kids aren't exposed to that world. Stu didn't just see it, he absorbed it. By the time he was 10, he was already standing out in gin rummy games where he was easily the youngest participant. His memory was sharper than anyone else's at the table. He could recall sequences, discards, and patterns with a precision that felt instinctive. He didn't need time to think. He understood positions and probabilities as quickly as they appeared. His home life, on the other hand, kept falling apart. His father died when Stu was 14, leaving him without the person who had shielded him from the rougher side of the gambling world. Shortly after, his mother suffered a stroke. The combination left him without structure, supervision, or guidance at a moment he needed it most. What Stu did have was talent, so much of it that even experienced gamblers couldn't manage him. The defining moment of his early years came when he played Harry Yonky Stein, one of the strongest gin players in New York. The match wasn't close. Stu beat him 86 games to 0. From that day forward, Stein actually stopped playing gin professionally. Casinos quietly discouraged Stu from entering events because players simply didn't want to sit with him. He was too good, too young, and too far ahead of everyone else around him. The New York scene couldn't offer him real competition anymore, and without his father or any real support at home, there was nothing keeping him there. Las Vegas was the obvious next step, a place with bigger stakes, stronger players, and opportunities that matched the level of talent he carried. Stu didn't leave New York in search of a fresh start. He left because he had already outgrown everything available to him. When Stu Ungar arrived in Las Vegas in the late 1970s, nothing about his appearance suggested he was about to impact the gambling world. He looked young enough to be mistaken for a teenager. He was thin, soft-spoken, and carried none of the physical presence the city's regulars were used to seeing at high-stakes tables. But talent stands out quickly in Las Vegas, and it didn't take long for people to realize what they were dealing with. Stu started exactly where he left off in New York, with gin rummy. Within a few sessions, he was beating respected Las Vegas players with the same precision he used back home. Billy Baxter, one of the most established gamblers in the city, watched the young newcomer win so consistently that he had to place a Coca-Cola crate under Stu's chair just so he could reach the table comfortably. The confidence Stu played with wasn't arrogance. It was recognition that his strengths translated anywhere, but gin wasn't where Las Vegas made its biggest money anymore. The city's best players had moved on to poker, especially Texas Hold'em, and that shift pulled Stu in the same direction. If he wanted meaningful action, there was only one place to find it. He didn't treat poker as a new challenge, he treated it as another system to understand, and he understood systems quickly. Stu watched hands, patterns, and habits, and learned Hold'em as though it had always been part of his skill set. His ability to read intentions through posture, betting rhythm, and subtle body language gave him an advantage over opponents who had been playing the game for decades. In 1980, he entered the World Series of Poker main event for the first time. The field included some of the most experienced players in the country. Stu wasn't intimidated. He won the tournament at just 26 years old. 1 year later, he came back and won it again.
Kyle Chalitin, 27-year-old Stu Ungar, has again won the World Championship of Poker 2 years in a row.
I just waited till I played out. I had a lot of bad streaks in, and I tried to just hang on until I got one good streak and then play it out. I won 300,000 in about an hour when I was down to 30,000. That was it.
Few players in the history of the game have ever shown that level of immediate control. Stu's style was aggressive and instinctive, but it was his ability to process information faster than anyone else that set him apart. He didn't need time to think. He already knew. Within 2 years, he went from being an unknown newcomer to one of the most respected and feared competitors in Las Vegas. His talent wasn't just impressive, it was undeniable. And even in those early victories, people noticed something about him that didn't match the calm image he projected at the table. He had the kind of intensity that didn't switch off, and a lifestyle that didn't slow down. Those two forces weren't compatible forever.
Remember, the first prize in this tournament is $375,000. Now let's study this hand, Bobby Baldwin.
Well, Ken Smith's folding, Perry Green's folding. Bill Smith's betting 8,000. Looks like Stewie's going to call him. Just two of them in the pot, Bill Smith and Stu Ungar, last year's defending champion.
Now the flop. There's an ace of spades, nine of clubs, five of clubs.
Stewie checked it to Bill. Bill's going to bet him. 10,000 he bet. Stewie seems to be active in almost every pot in this tournament. Very aggressive player.
Now there's the six of spades in the fourth card. What's the potential here?
All kinds of possibilities on this hand. Let's see what Stewie does here. Looks like he's going to bet him.
He's putting a squeeze on him. When you have it, you
Money
put
talks.
it to him. Money talks, right?
Right. 40,000 he bet Bill. We can see here Bill's got two sixes, a 6 and a 7 in the hole.
He's really going for a straight, isn't he?
He's got a pair of sixes and trying to draw for a straight.
He needs an 8.
Needs an 8 to make it straight. He's going to bet all his money. He's called the 40,000, raised it 15,500 more.
And Stu has a small pair, but he also can make a flush, right?
As you can see, Stewie's got the king 5 of spades, so he's got 2 5s with 4 spades. So Bill Smith's got the best hand with 2 6s.
He made a mistake. He made a mistake.
Bill Smith's hand called his hand a straight, but actually he's only got 2 6s. I believe he's overlooked his whole card. The fifth card, the 10 of spades, that made Stewie a flush.
And Bill Smith is out, and now we're down to 4.
2 aces and a tray. That's a big turn. They both checked.
There's 4th Street card coming up, and that's another tray. So
Another tray, 2 pair on the board. Any ace will make a full house. But we see here Stewie's got an ace-queen, so he's got aces full of queens.
he has an ace-queen in the hole, so he has a full house.
That's right. He's going to use
aces over trays.
He's going to use the community cards on the board. He's going to use 2 of the aces on the board and 2 trays. So he's got aces full of trays, and he's bet them. 25,000 he bet Perry.
All right, Perry Green, the Furrier from Anchorage, Alaska. Right now, the leader in this World Series of Poker is going to answer the bet.
He's called the 25,000. As you can see, Perry's got an ace also. He's got an ace-king, so they both have aces full of trays. 2 full houses on the same deal. The fifth card, the deuce of hearts, didn't help either player.
But they don't know that they each have the same hand, right?
No, they've got a tie pot, but they don't know it. Stewie pretty confident. I don't blame him with aces full. That's a huge hand in hold'em or any form of high-stakes poker game.
Ooh, look at this.
50,000 he's going to bet Perry.
We are approaching a mammoth pot. Look at that look on Perry Green.
What a huge pot this can be.
Look at that. Sort of like a basset hound.
Well, Perry's got aces full, and he knows that Stewie probably can't beat that. He probably suspects Stewie's got a tie, but they just don't know at this point.
One of them could have 4 threes. There are 2 threes up on the board, and Stu could have a pair of trays in the hole.
If you had 2 trays in the hole, you'd have 4 trays and beat the aces full. But it's awful big hand.
Perry Green is coming back. He's calling the $50,000 bet of Stu Ungar.
Looky there, Kurt. He's going to raise it $65,000. He told the dealer, I'm raising it $65,000 more. So now he's back on Stewie again with this tie pot.
We are now, what, around $300,000 or $400,000 in this pot on the table?
$300,000 or $400,000 already in the hand. The hand's not even complete yet. I'm sure Stewie's going to call the $65,000, but I don't know what else he could do. Ace is full. He's going to raise it. So now he's going to raise the bet.
Well, if Perry, and he has to with the amount of money he's got in there, answers this raise, we're going to have around $550,000 in this pot. Just think of that. Over $500,000 in one pot in this World Series of Poker, and the business decisions being made here in just 2 or 3, 4 minutes of time.
Well, I'm sure this hand, even though it looks like it's going to be a tie hand, is the largest pot in the 12 years history of the World Series of Poker. And if you're going to split it, he's announced to the dealer he's going to raise him back, so Stewie looks like he's going to call the $80,000 and raise all in. So this is a do-or-die situation for the young champion.
And deep study by the furrier from Anchorage, Alaska, Perry Green, as he looks at that amount of chips being shoved in front of him.
Well, this is a common situation that's come up earlier in the tournament. He's got $80,000 in the pot now. Stewie's raised him an additional $120,000. Perry's got an ace-queen. That's good enough to go with, and I think he's going to go with it.
Perry Green again, an ace-queen in the hole. Stu Ungar has a pair of kings in the hole as we wait for the flop.
Now, if Stewie loses this pot, he'll be eliminated from the tournament and finish in 3rd place. But 3rd place isn't bad. It pays $75,000.
So he's all in. He shoved his chips in.
It's showdown from here on out. Let's see what the flop has. Wow, an ace, 5, and a 10. So Perry made 2 aces on the turn. The king of diamonds makes Stewie 3 kings. Now Perry needs to make a straight or a flush or he'll lose this pot.
He says, give me that card. He doesn't get it. Stu Ungar wins it with 3 kings. And that should be a turning point for him and put him in the lead.
Well, this lead's changed hands several times between the same 2 players, Stu Ungar and...
Keep rows of the poker table. Perry Green and Stu Ungar, and we pick up the action now. Perry's made his opening bet, Bobby.
Well, he's brought the pot in for $16,000. Young Stewie there at the end of the tables. Called the $16,000, and he's raised Perry. Let's see how much he's raised Perry. Raised Perry $40,000 more. Looks like Perry's going to see the flop with him.
This is going to be some pot, I have a hunch.
Well, anytime you have 2 players with $112,000 in the pot before they even see the up cards, it's going to be quite a pot.
All right, now we'll have the flop coming up. And there it is, Jack 9-8, 2 clubs up there. Perry has in the hole the 10 and deuce of clubs, and Stu has in the hole the ace of clubs and jack of clubs, and there are 2 clubs in the flop, so 1 more club for each of them, they'd have a club flush, right?
Well, Stewie's let off and bet $40,000, and Perry's moving in all this money. This is what happens in no-limit hold'em when you're using community cards in the center of the table. They both think they have a super strong hand. Perry has a super strong draw. He's got 2 ways to make a straight and a 4-card flush draw. Stewie's got the top pair of 2 jacks with an ace-high flush draw.
So right now, Stu has the best hand.
Oh, he certainly does. I don't think Stewie's going to hesitate a moment to call this money. If Stewie does call this will be the largest pot in the history of the World Series of Poker.
And this is the 12th year of the World Series of Poker, and here it comes. And this pot now is going to be $554,000. No wonder they're getting up.
Yeah? 10 deuce of club? Yeah.
10 deuce of clubs. Here's the 4th card of a jack. That's 3 jacks for Stu Ungar. And no club shows on that 5th card, and Ungar wins the largest pot in the history of the World Series of Poker, $554,000. Blind bets have increased to $4,000 and $8,000. And it's going to take a lot of those bets for Perry to steal his way back. But look at Stu. He looks fatigued, Bobby.
Well, Stewie's a little tired. He may make a few mistakes here, but I don't look for... Stewie's used to playing long hours.
Perry can't afford to lose these blinds at $8,000 a crack.
No, they'll wear him down in a hurry.
There's a flop on this hand, not much.
Deuce, 6 and a 7, 3 little cards. Perry said those are his kind of cards and bets 20,000. Well, Stewie hadn't let the hammer down. He's called the 20,000 and raised it 40,000 more. Perry decides not to race with this hand.
He'll have to really look for a reasonable hand in which to come in and commit all of his chips if he's to turn this game around, won't he?
Oh, certainly. It's going to take a big flip-flop to turn it around for Perry.
Here, Stewie. Give me 5,000.
Looky there, Kirk. Perry's getting a little change, changing up some $1,000 chips, a little something to do.
Anything to break the tension.
Very intense at this point.
All right, let's see how this hand goes. Stu Ungar sitting right on the edge of winning his second world title in a row, and there's a bet by Perry.
Perry brought it in for 16,000. Well, as you can see there, Stewie's whole cards, the ace, queen of hearts. Powerful cards in Hold'em. Stewie's announced a raise. 25,000, Kirk. 25,000 more to Perry Green. Well, as you can see, Perry's got a 10 and a 9 in the hole. He's to the point where he's got to play this pot. 100,000 in the pot before the turn.
And here comes the flop.
Oh, what a flop. The 4, 8, and a 7 and 2 hearts. That makes Stewie a 4-card flush to draw at. It looks like he's weighing up Perry here.
He's going after him. He's after the kill now.
He's moving in for the kill. All of it, 100,000 he bet.
And Perry said, I'm going to play.
I don't blame him. He's got an open end straight. He might catch a 10 or a 9.
You got a hard flush.
I can have a hard flush.
Well, I mean, to
You
draw.
have 2 hearts?
Don't even have one.
I can have a hard flush. There's only 2 out there.
1, 2, 3, 40. What do you bet?
100.
50. Okay. 70. 78.
What do you got?
He had $78,000 left in chips,
But I got a draw.
and he said, I've got to draw for it. Stu has the best hand right now. And they sense it. Look at the crowd. If Perry Green loses his hand, it's all over, and Stu Ungar repeats as a world champion of poker.
Move the checks away.
Here comes the 4th card up.
Nine, 10, 6, 9,
4
10,
clubs, no help to Perry.
9, 10, 6, 2.
And the queen does it. Queens and 4s, a winning hand for Stu Ungar, and he repeats as the world champion of poker. What a tournament.
Success didn't create problems for Stu Ungar. It only made the ones he already had harder to avoid. Away from the table, his life never carried the same structure or stability that his talent relied on. He lived fast, moved without routine, and stayed awake for long stretches during tournaments. As the hours got longer, he turned to cocaine to keep himself sharp, believing it helped him maintain the focus he needed to play at a high level.
He had snorted so much of it, put it up his nose, that it had eaten the membranes in his nose away, and his nose just collapsed.
At first, it was occasional use. Eventually, it became the thing holding his lifestyle together, and the thing pulling it apart. The long nights turned into longer stretches of gambling. Stu didn't limit his risk to poker. He bet on horses, sports, and blackjack, often losing far more than he ever won outside the card room. The same intensity that made him fearless in tournaments made him reckless everywhere else. People close to him saw the change.
Bet $110,000 on a horse race.
His friends watched him lose weight, sleep irregularly, and push himself past the physical limits most players respected. His wife tried to slow him down, but the chaos of his lifestyle made it difficult for him to stay grounded for more than a moment at a time. Even with the issues building, his talent at the table didn't disappear. Stu could still dominate games and intimidate opponents with pure instinct, but the gap between the player he was and the person he had become kept growing. Every strong performance in a tournament was matched by a damaging setback in his personal life. The signs of decline were there. He just wasn't ready to confront them. Over time, the combination of addiction, financial swings, and emotional strain began shaping his story as much as his victories did. And while he continued to show glimpses of the brilliance he built his reputation on, the stability he needed to sustain it was slipping further out of reach. That slow slide eventually led him into the most defining crossroads of his career, a moment that showed how far his talent could take him, and how quickly everything around it could collapse. By 1990, Stu Ungar was still capable of outplaying almost anyone who sat across from him. His instincts remained sharp, his reads were still unmatched, and whenever he committed fully to a tournament, he could take control of the entire table. But the gap between his natural ability and his physical condition had grown impossible to ignore. Despite the worsening effects of addiction, he entered the 1990 World Series of Poker main event with confidence. Early on, he looked like the same player who once dominated the event. His aggression returned, his timing looked precise, and he began building a stack large enough to put pressure on everyone around him. By the third day, he had the chip lead. It wasn't a small edge, it was the kind of lead that suggested he could win the entire tournament again if he stayed steady. But staying steady was the one thing his lifestyle no longer allowed. On the morning of day 3, Stu didn't show up, not for the first level, not for the second, not for the entire day. As the blinds increased and players were eliminated around him, his absence became the only story anyone could focus on. Word eventually spread that Stu had been found unconscious in his hotel room from a drug overdose. He was rushed for medical care, unable to return to the tournament he had been leading, and somehow, even without playing another hand, he still reached the final table. His chip stack, built during his early surge, was large enough to carry him through multiple eliminations before finally running out. The moment felt surreal. A player who once defined excellence at the World Series of Poker had made a final table without being physically capable of sitting down. For many players watching, that result captured the entire state of his life. His talent remained powerful enough to push him forward, but the choices surrounding it had taken control. Each comeback appeared smaller, each setback more damaging. The overdose didn't end his career outright, but it forced everyone, including Stu himself, to recognize how far his addictions had pulled him from the player he used to be. He was no longer battling opponents across the table, he was battling the conditions that prevented him from returning to it. The years following the 1990 World Series of Poker marked the most difficult stretch of Ungar's life. His reputation as one of the greatest players ever remained intact, but the consistency and stability required to stay at the top were gone. Stu spent long stretches moving between small motels and low-stakes games trying to stay afloat financially. The swings that once energized him now worked against him. He could win a session with ease and lose it just as quickly on side bets or spur-of-the-moment wagers. The player, who once made back-to-back world championships look effortless, now found himself searching for enough energy to get through the day. And although many believed his best years were behind him, there were still a few who thought he had one more run left in him. It would take the right opportunity, the right support, and a moment of clarity. And in 1997, all three appeared at the same time. Very few people in Las Vegas believed Stu Ungar had another championship run left in him. His skills were still respected, but his physical condition, financial struggles, and years of instability had pushed him far from the world he once dominated. Still, he wanted to enter the World Series of Poker main event again. He didn't have the buy-in, and he didn't carry the presence of a former champion anymore, but the desire to compete hadn't faded. Billy Baxter, the same friend who had helped him years earlier, decided to stake him one more time. It wasn't a business decision or a calculated gamble, it was a gesture made out of respect for what Stu had accomplished, and a hope that he could put together one final performance. Stu registered as the very last entrant in the entire field. He arrived late, looking exhausted and unsteady, with little indication that he would be able to withstand the length of a multi-day tournament. Players who recognized him weren't sure how he would manage even a few hours, let alone an entire event. The first day reflected those concerns. Stu struggled through the opening levels, often appearing distracted or drained, and many assumed he would be eliminated early. But on the second day, something changed. The clarity that had defined his best years resurfaced. His reads were sharp again, his timing clean, and his willingness to apply pressure returned without hesitation. The same instincts that once separated him from the rest of the field began operating as if they had never lived. By the end of the day, he had climbed near the top of the leaderboard. By the next, he was controlling tables. As the tournament moved toward the final stages, Stu's presence shifted from a surprising run to a legitimate threat. His decision-making looked precise, his confidence grew, and opponents realized they were no longer facing a fading legend. They were facing the version of Stu Ungar capable of beating anyone. At the final table, he played with the same focus that had defined his early career. He picked his spots, avoided unnecessary risks, and forced players into mistakes they couldn't recover from. Each pot he won added momentum, and each decision reinforced the feeling that this run was something more than just a good tournament. When the final hand fell in his favor, Stu Ungar became a 3-time World Series of Poker main event champion. Only one other player in history had ever reached that mark. His victory earned him $1 million prize, making him poker's highest paid tournament player of all time. Moments after the win, he spoke candidly about his life and the struggles that had followed him. The comeback wasn't the start of a new chapter or the return of a stable career, but for a brief moment, it showed the full reach of what he had always been capable of.
We've got a pot here between John Stremp and Stu Ungar. About 80,000 in the pot right now. We have an ace, king of clubs, and a 4 of spades. They both check on the flop. Here's another spade, the 8 of spades. We've got 2 clubs and 2 spades out there right now.
Stu's very good at looking at a player and knowing what he has. It's one of his strengths. I know because I personally bluffed off $200,000 to the guy this tournament. In fact, my bluffing him so many times kept him
Stu's called 45,000
in the tournament earlier.
There's 2 flush draws out there, and one of them comes. Actually, a straight flush out there. 5-7 of spades is a straight flush. Now, if John has a lone ace or something like that, he's going to check here. But he doesn't check. He bets. Looks like 70,000. John bets 70,000 and takes a puff.
It's awfully hot out here. Even under the shade of this Fremont Street canopy, it just has to have some effect on the player's concentration.
Stewie, I think, is just trying to figure out whether or not to call. But who knows?
Stewie cuts off 70,000 and
Called it. I think Stewie has like an ace-jack.
John shows king, 10 of spades for a spade flush.
Well, I saw Stewie flash an ace.
Stu had the aces. John
So actually, Stewie had the
1,000 each.
5 out of 6 pots. Ron has to act first, so Stewie has the advantage to sit back and wait and see what he does.
Ace 9 6 with 2 spades. Both check. An 8 making a straight possible. It's 2 straights possible. 5-7 or a 7-10. Ron bets 25,000.
25,000.
Stewie's going to call.
I don't know.
You don't think so?
Look at
He's
this.
not only calling, he's raising.
Stu raises
60,000.
Ace, 9, 8, 6, 2 spades.
If I had to guess at this point, I would say that Stewie has 2 pair. 9's up. What hand you put Stewie on, Phil?
Well, you know, it's just hard to say. Stewie may have a 9-10 here. I mean, which is a pretty good hand. 2 9s and a
He
straight
might have
draw.
a 9-10, right?
It's highly unlikely that he has a straight, but if he does have a straight,
Yeah, he might have a straight. 60,000 was a bet that he would make if he had a straight. Trying to trap, trying to get as much money as possible, but not wanting to overload.
Ron calls 60,000.
All right, he's called.
Final card's a king.
Next
Well,
card's a
that-
king,
Ace,
which
king,
is
9, 8, 6.
That
two
didn't
spades.
change much.
visible support.
I guess Ron checked, and Stewie's thinking about betting
Ron check.
200,000.
Looks like he's going to bet 200,000.
Look
Makes
at
it
this.
220,000.
220,000.
220,000.
Okay. I'll tell you this much. I'm beginning to really love Stu's hand here. Doesn't look like a 9-10 anymore.
Yeah, and I don't think he's got two pair anymore. Having played with Stewie over the years, I would say that Stewie's either got a straight or he was drawing to a straight. In other words, he's got the 5-7 or the 7-9, or he's got a 10-jack or a 10-queen. I would put him on one of those four hands. This is a major, major bet for this time of the tournament.
Oh, yes. I mean, he just bet on the river. He just bet on the last card here more than... I mean, let me see. I can't see Bob's chips. He bet more than 2 out of the 6 players have left in front of him. If Ron Stanley were to call and lose his pot, Stu would just have an absolutely huge chip lead.
I would have to say that I think Stewie has a very strong hand.
Oh, yeah.
But that 60,000 raise was just to try and make sure Ron called, hoping Ron had some sort of a hand.
Absolutely. I think Stu probably does have
Now, we'd
nines
both be
up for a
surprised if
straight.
Ron raised, wouldn't we?
Yeah, wait.
Ron
can we
laid
get
it down.
John,
Stu showed a
can we
bluff.
get,
Stu showed a
Prodigy out
bluff.
for John?
Queen 10 offsuit.
Queen 10
Stu
spade.
bluffed him.
Ron folds. Stu was bluffing
10
with a
offsuit.
queen 10. Ron had 2 9s.
More, but he's still maybe the best poker player in the
calls.
world. He calls a 60,000.
John
John Stremp is out, and we have a pot between Mel Judah and Stu Ungar.
$146,000 pot.
Here's the flop: 10 jack,
Jack of
3
hearts,
2
10 of
hearts.
diamonds.
That piece
Three
of
of
glass,
hearts.
incidentally, comes from my mother's condominium in Florida. She was kind enough to let
check.
us use it. Check, check on the flop. Here's
Next
4th
card,
Street,
deuce of
deuce of clubs. See what happens here. Stu's not going to let this go any further. Here he goes. He's betting
Stu
$80,000.
bets 80,000. Mel moves all in.
Mel Judah doesn't take a lot of time. He calls and raises, goes all in.
Looks like about 230.
Happened so fast. Stewie
Gone up.
doesn't know what happened. He says, count it, and he stares at Mel Judah trying to get some kind of read. What do you have, Mel? Do you have a drawing hand? He could have a queen king and
306,000 a
just
pot, but
raised,
Mel raises an additional
hoping to buy the pot right here. That's what Stewie's trying to figure out. But Mel Judah is sitting there like Mel Buddha, not trying to give anything away. Stewie's trying to figure it out. It's real tough. Both checked on the flop. And now Mel Judah goes all in, and Stewie says, looks to me like Stewie's got a jack with maybe a mediocre kicker like a jack 8. He's trying to figure out if the hand is good. He usually makes the right decisions in these circumstances. Let's see if he makes the right one here. He
Stu
calls.
Turn them up, guys.
Turns over jack
Stu's got
with a good
queen,
kicker, jack
Mel's got
queen.
10-9, 660,000
Mel Judah has a
in the pot.
9-10. Mel Judah is in
Mel
very
needs a
bad
10
shape in this
or a
pot.
9.
He needs a 9 or a
Otherwise,
10
we're
to
down to
win.
heads up in
Otherwise,
this
he's going to
year's
be our
World
3rd place
Championship.
finisher.
1 card to come.
Mel Judah knows he's not in good shape. Here's the last
The
card.
card's a king. Stu Ungar wins a hand.
King.
Mel Judah becomes our
Mel
third
Judah's
place
out of the
finisher.
tournament. Stu Ungar has knocked Mel Judah out. It's very
Okay, John has a big
kind of
line.
interesting circumstances
you're
there. It
back
seemed to
to
me
the
like Mel Judah might have thought that Stu Ungar was. You're looking at it. $1 million right on the table.
This is it. Heads up poker for hard cash between Stu the Kid Ungar and John, treasurer of the Sierra Madre Stremp.
Stewie's going to raise 40,000. Costs 40,000 for John to call. John calls, 40,000 raise. Got $124,000 in the center right now. Here's the flop. Ace 3-5, different suits. John's first act, and here he goes again.
Right away.
Betting out. 120,000. Now at this point, Stewie's well aware that the last time John bet out, he had a pair of aces in the pocket. And that's one of the things that's going through Stewie's mind. A feeling exactly, does John have something? Does he have a marginal hand like he's bet with so many times before, or does he have a real good hand like the last time he bet out on the flop?
So he keeps looking back at that one card.
as if he's got maybe got an ace, but doesn't like what his kicker.
Every so often, Stu will glance up and try and catch.
He's going to call.
I raise it.
Raises.
This could be it, ladies and gentlemen. He's rating $800,000.
And he does have the
John
ace.
calls. Here we go. This could be it.
Ace 4, ace with no kicker.
He needs a deuce or a 4. Stewie needs a deuce or a 4.
Stu's in a little bit of trouble here. A tray won't do it. Yes.
Deuce. Stewie wins the tournament. Stu Ungar has won 3 worlds.
The $1 million prize disappeared quickly. Some of it went to debts, some of it went to old habits, some of it simply slipped away in the same unpredictable patterns that had followed him for years. His health continued to decline. Years of drug use had weakened his heart and lungs, and the physical toll became more visible. In late 1998, Stu checked into the Oasis Motel in Las Vegas. He didn't draw attention to himself, and he didn't share any plans with those close to him. On November 22nd, staff found him unresponsive. He wasn't intoxicated, he wasn't overdosed. His body had simply given out. The official cause was heart failure brought on by years of substance abuse. Stu Ungar was 45 years old. The player who once rewrote the standards of poker, who won world titles in his 20s, scared opponents with pure instinct, and made one of the greatest comebacks the game has ever seen, was gone long before his talent ever had a chance to fade. Stu Ungar left behind a legacy that continues to shape how people understand poker. His results alone would place him among the greatest players to ever sit at a table, but it was the way he reached those results that set him apart. His ability to read situations, opponents, and patterns operated on a level professionals still talk about today. And while Stu relied on instinct and natural ability to reach the highest levels of poker, another player would rise years later using a completely different approach, one that flipped the idea of skill on its head. Instead of trusting her instincts or relying on experience, she did something no one expected. She played an entire tournament without looking at her cards and won. Her story became one of the most surprising moments in modern poker, not because of luck, but because of what it revealed about reading opponents, controlling pressure, and understanding the game in a way few players ever attempt. To see how a teenage girl shocked the poker world by doing what most players consider impossible, watch the next video. How a teen girl who didn't look at her cards became a poker champion.